Welcome. Wait, welcome to the stream. How come I have a mic and a mic auxiliary? Can you hear me now? What's the difference between these two? I don't know. Can you hear me? It looks like you can hear me. Anyways, welcome to the stream. Yes, get my emails. I just sent an email out to subscribers. What am I missing? What am I missing? Oh, I know what I'm missing. I'm missing one light. I paid like, I don't know how many, $50 for this light, so I might as well use it. How's it going, Tech Dave? Mic is very low now? How about now? Maybe this mic. I need to figure out which mic is which. This is a test. This is a test. Oh, all right, that's clearly that mic. I think I've got two mics going on. This one is definitely that one. And the mic / aux, this is what I'm saying right here. I'll show you. Rather than see, this is what I see. I've got my input capture device. Oh, you know what it is? Boom. That should change everything. I need to use this different sound profile thing to get it all to work properly, apparently. Or I did once, and now I always do that. So this should work. The mic appears to be going up, and I can do ASMR. Oh, I know. Yes, it definitely worked. It's because I'm on fiber now, so the upload speed is the same as the download speed. Who knew? So there you go. It does suck, though, because I had to spend just over $300 on refurbished Eero devices. Eero 6E Pro or some crap like that. I had them as part of my original plan, and I need two of them because I have a little cottage that I rent out over there, and the internet is not reaching over there, so I have to put one there. And so they basically said, listen, you can use the AT&T Wi-Fi, but if you got the Eeros, they work well, and if you use them both, they'll conflict because the waves will, and people have problems with that. So we turned off the AT&T Wi-Fi. I'm keeping the Eeros, but I had to buy two new ones because when I break up with my Astound broadband, they're going to let's look at what we've done. They're going to want those back probably, and if they don't, then I'll return the ones I just bought. But anyways, so this is what we got going on here. We got guns. I fixed all the problems in last night's live stream. Turns out when I was resetting things, I changed how things get reset. We got the plasma gun, which follows the target around. So that's cool. We got this gun, which is fun. We got the sniper. I had to do a bunch of scripts to make this package work better. Like, the effects are really nice, but the implementation of the effects were lacking. Then shotgun. Laser pulse. This one's new. Nobody's seen this from the streams yet. That's nice, right? Then this one's fun. So this one shows the power of projectile. This projectile system. Maybe I'm going to change the name, but I'm working on this projectile system. And so we got laser pulses. Boom, 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 boom. We get that, right? Then we got this one. What's the difference? Well, let me show you. Okay, so again, boom, 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 back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, back and forth. Then this one, it's got like a 6-shot volley. And if you notice, they're actually not going completely straight either. They're all kind of chaotic. And so if we briefly take an aside and look at what these are doing, we have our, where are they? The projectiles, laser pulse, and laser pulse times 3. The only difference between these two is one has a different spawn behavior. This spawn behavior is a machine gun turret. I think part of that's the post-processing. I need to play with that a little bit more. And then the other one is this machine gun 6 at 10 degree and chaotic. Why did I name it that? Let's look into it. So this is the spawn behavior. This is the default spawn behavior. You can create your own. You can override this. and extend it. And if your game has something very specific, that might be a good idea. If there's something very specific that you need from this, but I think this will do a lot of things. So this has, instead of 1 projectile, this has 6. That's why you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can also see that we have a switch barrels between shots is turned on, and that we can and that we repeat indefinitely. So -1 means forever. We have a 5-second, or a half-second rather, delay between volleys. And so that's all it's doing. It's basically saying, okay, you're doing 6 shots instead of 1. Oh, and the spread angle is 10 degrees on the X, 3 degrees on the Y. It's going to be random intervals on the X, and then it's going to be random on the Y. And we can do this. We can go random on that. And I think I need to restart it. Let me see. Can we just change this? Let's not switch between shots, but we will switch between volleys. Oh, yeah. So we can change it right there. So now, because we toggled that off, now each side will do 6 shots. And then the other side will do 6 shots. So that's the promise that this package is delivering. Change one small thing, and suddenly your entire projectile system is new behavior. So, yeah. Then we got this railgun. See if I can actually hit this. Boom. So it's got a fairly large explosive force when it hits. I need to find a particle that, or maybe I need to make that explosion particle bigger to show that it's, you know, because you can see it's clearly has a wide range. It's 10, I think. Then we got lightning beam. So this is what I'm working on today. Obviously, it's not done. I had to rework their entire code for this. So let's continue on that. I had to rework the whole code because it was so coupled together that you couldn't use their stuff without using everything. So the exciting part, the beauty part, is that really these particles can be used without projectile system for the most part. Like if you actually look at the particles, they do things. They've got the projectile power destroy on them, but at its core, it will just destroy it. It doesn't, if you don't have to use it in the pool. Anyways, keeping things modular is always a good thing. So I need to keep working on this. The first thing I realize I want to do is separate out 2 scripts, 1 script into 2. So I've got line render modifications, which is a better version, a new version. Not better. I mean, it's better, but there's a, where's their 3FD or F3D beam. So they had this code. So there's a lot of problems with it already. Weird. This one's not capitalized. This one is. Weird things going on all around. Lots of comments that aren't always needed necessarily, but then there's some hard-coded stuff here, which, oh, this isn't the right one. Maybe it is the right one. I don't even remember which one, but either way, there was a lot of stuff in this that was just unnecessary. So I've made this version much cleaner, a little bit shorter, I think. I haven't commented it yet, but it's this was a debug thing. We don't need that anymore. Yes, and it's working fine. So I want to separate that though, because this is actually doing 2 things. This is doing the oscillation of a beam, and it's also doing the animation. So I think I want to separate it out, but I need to look at the code first because maybe I don't. All right, so I'm going to quickly look. The awake, we assign first frame texture. Is it too small? I can make it a little bit bigger. Assign first frame texture. This part confused me too because, all right. So there's animation frames and there's non-animation frames. And that's why I think it's really 2 separate scripts. It should be 2 separate scripts. Beam offset. Projectile. Use both of those regardless. So I think this is from the beam. This is from, or oscillation, this is from the animation. Then we start the animations if we're starting the animation on spawn. So we're just assigning the coroutine to this start coroutine, animate beam. On disable, we are stopping the coroutine. All right, so this is still all animation stuff up above, aside from the awake. And then set line renderer. If oscillate, then we return. This part I'm confused at. This might need to be reversed. Where do we use set line renderer? In our raycast, set line renderer position beam length. So I'm confused why this oscillate. Let's turn that off real quick and see if what happens. Because one of the things I noticed, I don't know if you noticed it, when we were looking at the thing earlier, that the beam didn't necessarily... Okay, there we go. So now, no. So the oscillation does get cut off now by the wall. I'm looking in the scene view. Those little 2 dots are still not moving. I think those need to be adjusted somehow. We'll need to work on that too. But yeah, so so now it's working to the hit position. So I think this doesn't need to be, unless it says if not oscillate return. But I think either way we need to set the line render position because we want to hit stuff. Yeah. So, all right. Raycast. This is the raycast for the line renderer. Random amplitude. On frame step. This is the animation aspect. Yep. Animate. Animation frames. Animate. And we'll look at the update in a second. All right, so this is still animation stuff. This is oscillation stuff. And update does animation and the raycast. So there's a little bit of both. And they put the update way at the bottom, which I think it's fine to be at the bottom. But usually people will put the updates up here, you know. All right, so we have a few things going on. Animation, some stuff that has both, and oscillation. So we can make this different. Let's make this one. Whoop. Line render how you spell this? Oscillation. All right, and then we're just make a copy of it, the whole thing, and we're gonna call this one. Do this one. Line renderer. Frame animation. All right. All right, so the animation one, we will take out all the oscillation bits. So on awake, we do that. The beam offset, where does this get used? This is in the animation bit. Okay. We need everything else. We need this. Do we need the raycast for the animation? Don't think so. We need start animation. We need the animate beam. We need the on disable. We need the frame step. We need that. We need the update frame. We need the animate. I don't think we need this or anything below it. That's the idea. All right, we got a bug. Oscillate beam, we don't need that anymore. Single responsibility principle makes things so much easier. That's why it's important. You're right. You're right. You're right, Jihad. Yeah, I meant to write to you. and I didn't, so I apologize again. I meant to write to you because I had to think a little bit. I'm thinking, okay, I need to first wait until after GDC because I'm way too busy. The day job stuff has been a lot going on for that, but it's going to be fun. And then after GDC, I've got a few days off. Hopefully I won't have COVID this year. And I need to figure out my finances, figure out what kind of funds I have left over from tax season and all that. I should be getting money back from tax season because the last year was a crap year and I overpaid the year before. So that's nice, I guess. But we'll see. Because I do want to do some work, and I think there's a cave system in particular that I've had in my back pocket forever. I call it traversable rocks and caves. And it's really cool, but it needs a little bit more, and I don't have the time and the skills to do that more myself. So maybe that's where you can come in and help out if you're willing and able. So, all right. So this one should be good for that. We're gonna now move this one, and before I do this, I'm gonna copy these to these two script or this script because I don't want to lose the settings. So I just want to make sure I don't do things right. All right, so this is going to be the lightning beam. So the lightning beam collapses the oscillation one. And I'm going to go to this one because this one has animations. Line render frame animations. So projectile will be this. Line renderer will be this. Start on yes. Frame step. Okay. I should set that as a default if that's like a good value. I don't know if it's a good value, but it seems like might as well set it as a default. All right. We'll add some headers in a bit. What else? We have randomized frames is true. Animate UVs is on. UV time is -3. I'm not sure what the difference is there. And that should be good, except for the frames themselves need to be copied over. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Does the order matter? I guess if we're randomizing frames, it does not. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, then we should be able to remove this component safely. And save this for now. And we'll do the other one now. All right. And while we're here, let's see. Options, header, animation setup. These are privates. All right, that should be good. Line renderer modification. Now we can get rid of all the animation stuff. So in our awake, we don't need this or this, but we do need to make sure we link shit. Right? Right. All right. So all this animation stuff, I'm just going to delete. And that shows us that we also can get rid of this. All right. Oscillation should be working now. Update. We don't need the animate, but we will do the raycast. And the raycast goes to this. And this should be... Uh-oh. We lost oscillate beam. Because that was in one of the animation things. Okay, let me undo. Figure out where it was. It was in the animate beam. It's while true. Okay. So that sounds like an update thing, right? Statement body. We're going to have public void bool oscillation on equals true. All right, so oscillate beam. And what you just do if not us. Oh, we already have the option. Okay, get rid of that then. All right. I don't see. Oh, here it is. All right. Let's get rid of our animation options. Beam options. Oscillate time. I think this is supposed to be like how often it oscillates. I see. So we need to start coroutine called oscillate. Oscillate. We'll create this one. Whoops. I.e. numerator. And this is going to be every time. Nope. Every oscillate time. Seconds. Call oscillate beam. And wait for that. But we need to repeat forever. So, Monsieur AI, we need this to repeat forever. While that does that, I'm going to go up to our privates here and say we're going to change this to a oscillate beam coroutine, and we're going to make this that, and then we're going to do on disable. We don't have that yet. Private void on disable is going to be if it's not equal to null, stop it. All right, then we'll copy this. That's like a video game where the computer goes and does something while we go on another quest. All right, so just starts it over and over and over again. Nice. All right, and we won't start it if, oops, if oscillate beam coroutine equals null, then we start it. Otherwise, we don't start it. Start coroutine, and we will make start oscillation, and we'll make this a single method here. Oops. Invert. Oh, good. That's even better. So this null coalescent expression. I like this one. I learned this from the AI, by the way. It says if it's null. Wait a minute. Is this the same way I think it says? If the coroutine has started, will this call it again? I don't. Maybe it will. Null coalescent assignment. What it means is that if it is null, it will start the routine. Okay. Good. Yeah. So basically, it says, hey, if this value is null, then do the right hand argument. Otherwise, don't. Sup, the bull. Sup, Tech Dave 99. Not Europe-y. Lovely, lovely built-in. Because market size is bigger if you do that. Plus, it doesn't matter for this project. Because ultimately, this project is just code. But the implementation would require folks to do whatever render pipeline they want. But it's agnostic to that otherwise. All right, so this should work. We're going to start the oscillation, only if we haven't. On disable, we stop it. During the oscillation, we just repeat this over and over. Wait for oscillation time, and then we call the oscillate, which does a thing. And everybody's happy and goes home with a prize. Okay, so now let's go back and set this up. And then we can feel very confident in our separation of behaviors or responsibilities. So it should be all set up. Yeah, it is. We can make sure the line render is already there. We'll build it if it wasn't, but okay. Now press play, see if it works. It appears to be working. It's working. So now we need to figure out what to do about the length of the second beam, because I think that one is needs to match. So I think the problem is the beam has two beams. Does that make sense? The beam has this line renderer and this line renderer. This one's doing the animation, and I think this is the one that is not being moved to the end. And then there's these. This is the muzzle. And then this is the end. This is the end point, and this one needs to be moved to the end point as well. So we have a conundrum here. We want to keep responsibilities separate, but we also want to be efficient. I'm doing a ray cast from this beam, and that's getting me the endpoint, the hit point. I want to use that value on these other objects, but I also want to not force this one to be connected to the other two. So what I think I'm going to do is separate out the raycast. That's my guess. I want to separate out the raycast and then pass that length into these systems here. So the first thing is let's separate out this method, the raycast method, to do just one thing. Also, by the way, I don't like that it always does this. No, I want to learn add to user dictionary on this computer. Raycast is now properly raycast. All right. Yes, we need to make these private. They didn't add that in their code, and so in our refactoring we have to do. Or I'm going to get them protected. But anyways, so the raycast does a hit point. That's a ray length multiplier. Calculate default beam proportion multiplier based on default scale and maximum length. I'm not sure exactly what this whole length multiplier thing is intended to do. Let's see if the AI can explain that to us. What exactly does the length multiplier and associated code length scale do? Because I haven't really figured it out. Where's happening in the script? Is a recast system? Yep. The ray is being cast. Yep. If the ray hits an object. Yep. Yep. Length multiplier is essentially a scaled up version of beam length. It's calculated by multiplying the beam length by beam scale divided by 10. This part most likely convert beam scale to a reasonable scale factor, especially as beam scale might be intended to be used as a percentage. The length multiplication is then used to scale the main texture of the main material applied to the line render, which is likely being used to visually represent the beam, specifically the texture scale along the U-axis. The scaling factor is the length multiplier, so the texture will stretch or repeat more times based on how long the beam is and how large the beam scale is. Overall length multiplier and beam scale are used to make the beam's texture visibly adapt to its length. Okay. Can you suggest better names for those variables? And is this doing the job well? Raycast hit point, hit info. I mean, this is really raycast hit, right? Raycast hit. It suggests this transforms good as is. Ray is also good. Max length is good. Duh. Beam length. Here's somewhere like actual raycast distance. Aha. Raycast distance. That makes sense. Projectile collision mass does not require renaming. Length multiplier could be texture scale. That's why I think it should be texture scale. Texture scale. Beam scale could be renamed scale factor. Beam scale factor. Where's beam scale? Beam scale factor. Now the question is, why are we dividing by 10? Right? It seems like it should just be smaller, but public float beam scale factor multiplier equals 0.1 f. I don't like the magic numbers. So we'll remove a magic number. But I'm not sure I fully understand this because I'm not super familiar with this whole systems, you know? But that's okay. Are you seeing the whole AI? You are seeing the whole AI. That's good. All right. So texture scale gets used down there, so we should move this down here. And this is the bit that can be brought out of this. So we're going to say texture scale. These are 3 different things. So we will do protected, virtual, void, not void actually, virtual, float, texture scale. And what do we need from this? Distance. Good. It knew. So this is going to return our distance, beam scale times that. So we can just say texture scale is now distance. Raycast distance. All right. And we can get rid of this. Much simpler. So, okay, protected, virtual, void, set position and or handle raycast distance. That's what we're really doing. And float distance. And we're going to do this. So, okay, so we're going to bring in handle handle raycast distance. I think something just got added up here. Maybe not. Okay. Handle raycast distance. And in this, we're going to do this. And we're going to make this public because we're actually going to move the raycast out. And we're going to set raycast distance. Set distance. We'll just say set distance. It's more open to other things. Why is raycast distance up here? It should not be. Look at all this. Interesting. It was used in more places. All right, so we can keep that, I guess. We're still going to do this, and then we're going to do equals distance. And all right. So we set our distance, and then We're going to change this to line distance because it's no longer necessarily the raycast distance. It can be set by anything. We can say this to be set line distance as well. Be clear about it. All right, set line render position based on the line distance. So we don't need that at all anymore, actually. We can do just that is going to be line distance. Where are we? Okay. And then set the scaling. We will make this its own little thing. Private or protected. Virtual void. Set texture scale. Is that. Set texture scale. All right. That's so much easier to read, right? Is it? I think it is. All right. So now we're doing our raycast. At the end, we set our line distance to that distance. So we cache it, then we set our render position and set texture scale. That's what happens when we set the line distance. Now let's move the raycast out. So we're going to do a we're going to do an interface. I handle raycasts. I handle raycasts. Because it doesn't really matter, right? It is going to be instead we're going to just say handle raycast. Void handle or set distance. Set raycast distance. Float distance. And this is going to just give our raycast. Raycast hit. A raycast hit. Raycast hit. There we go. Yeah, there's warp gates and stuff. I actually just noticed the missiles. I didn't know it had missiles until two nights ago. I opened it up and I saw those and I was like, oh, all right, well, I'll implement those too. So after we get the lasers working, then the flamethrower, then the missiles, which is good because their missiles look so much better than the primitives I made, the primitive missiles I made. So it's a lot more fun to work on this with very nice looking content, which just reminds me, like even putting post-processing, I don't usually put post-processing on, but the other day I was making a video and I realized, oh shit, I should do post-processing. It looks better. And now that I've got post-processing, I'm having more fun with it. And now that the cubes are blowing up, I'm having more fun with it. So there is definitely something to be said about developing with pretty things. Gray boxing's fine, but having things look good, even though you don't necessarily need them at that point, is just more fun. All right, so I handle raycasts is going to get these two for now. Let's move this to its own I handle raycasts. And then we're going to make a new. Oh yeah, we got to implement this. So this, we are going to rename this one to set raycast distance. Set raycast distance. That way we are working this one properly. We're going to ignore that for now. And then the other one is handle raycast hit, which we're going to do nothing for that. Public virtual void handle raycast hit. I mean, I guess it's the same thing, isn't it? So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we'll do that. set distance. Line distance. Okay. I feel okay with this. But it still tells us that we are doing something wrong. What's the... Does it have to be public void specifically? Can't be virtual. It can be. What's the difference? Oh, I spelled it wrong. That's the difference. Oh, you know what? What am I doing? Why am I pressing buttons? Is this the actual distance? Yes, it is. All right. All right. All right. That should work. Now we need to move this to its own thing. So we need, what do we need here? We need the start, transform, line distance. All right. We're going to make the AI do this. And then yeah, we're going to do private list I handle raycasts. And okay, let's make the AI do some work here. Let's move this to a new class called raycast. Shoot raycast projection. I think just raycast won't work, so called something appropriate. Appropriate for an agnostic raycast shooter. And the goal is that on awake, it will add raycast handler for each component on this or and children of this object, which implement I handle raycasts. There needs to be a remove raycast handler method as well. And when we do this raycast, we need to notify handlers. And in that method, ignore missing members, missing handlers, and then call handle raycast hit on all of those. Let's see if it just does it. Certainly. Why, certainly, I'll do that for you. What happens when we find out that this was conscious the whole time and it enjoyed itself? I'm going to go get more coffee. Think about that while I get more coffee. All right, I'm coming back. Got more coffee. All right, so this is a whole new method. what do we call it here? What did it call? Agnostic raycast shooter. All right, that seems appropriate enough for now. We're gonna copy this. Scripts for the main package will be create agnostic raycast shooter. We're gonna just change to raycast shooter. Copy paste. We don't need that. We already have that. Actually, namespace, Magic Pig Games. This doesn't have to be in projectiles though, because it's gonna be usable in all sorts of different things. Which means this doesn't need to be in projectiles. All right, and we're gonna rename this to be just raycast shooter. All right, raycast handlers. This transform, we need to make that public. Transform raycast origin. And then this we will, okay, we're going to origin position. We're going to do that. And then this is going to be raycast origin. Otherwise, vector 3, 0. Yeah. If it's, there we go. Yeah, so if we have an origin, header plumbing. If we don't have an origin, we'll do the transform position. If we do have an origin, that way you can like kind of modify it, I suppose. Move this up here. And then we have our array and our raycast hit. That's fine. Okay. Awake, we will add the raycast handlers from children. Protected virtual void. I like making these extensible. Am I doing it too much? That's an interesting question. I've been thinking about that. But as I get these store packages, I'm frustrated. I don't want to edit the code, but I'm frustrated when I'm not able to do something because I have to either edit the code or not do it or redo it entirely. And I would much prefer to hook into things or extend things rather than having to redo them. You know? I think that's reasonable. I think it is, but you know, maybe I'm crazy. All right, so we add handlers from children, components, get components and children. All right, for each one, add raycast handler. For these ones, we want that public just in case something wants to add it later. Oh, thank you, Tech Dave. I'm glad you agree. Because I've been doing that like crazy. Yeah. Raycast handlers contains handler, then if it doesn't contain it, then we'll add it. Makes sense. Remove raycast handler. Great. If it contains that, then remove it. All right. Origin position. Not anymore. We don't need that. So array from our origin position, direction forward. We're going to add a max distance. If we hit something, then we're going to notify handlers. But either way, we're going to notify handlers. But all right, let's add a max distance. Header options. Public float max distance equals 200. I spelled it wrong. Okay. Public float max distance. All right. Tell the AI, here's the updated code. I've added float max distance. Let's ensure the raycast goes that distance forward. And if also, if we get a hit, pass that value distance to distance to the hit. No, we don't need to do that. Oh, you know what we're gonna do? Okay, we're gonna update this handle to be float max distance equals 0. Yeah, max distance. So what this is gonna do is basically tell the receivers float max distance. It's going to tell the receivers what the max distance was. So if raycast hit is null, then it's going to do raycast. It's going to do distance. Otherwise, raycast hit dot distance. Yeah, max distance. Okay, let me ask the AI something real quick. This handler code. Will raycast hit be null if the raycast from the other script didn't hit anything? If so, how would I go about passing the max distance in that case? All right, and then up here, raycast shooter would be this. We don't need that. We have that set. I guess you could do. You could do this in float alternative max or alt max distance. Distance equals -1. And we will do bar distance equals alt max distance is greater than 0. Then we do that. Yes, and then we'll check distance here. I think we need to do this. Don't we need to do that? Okay, well, what's the answer here? That's what I was doing before. Oh, so the distance will be 0. Okay. If the distance is going to be 0, then we can say raycast hit dot distance equals 0, then max distance, otherwise raycast distance. That should work. Will that work? All right. Yes. All right, good. Thanks for the confirmation, AI. All right, so now the raycast is going to have an alt max distance, so that you can pass that in if you want to do a shorter one for whatever reason. Or a longer one. Doesn't matter. You can do that. As long as it's greater than 0, then it will use that instead of the max distance. All right. Oh, the ray is just forward. This is the distance. Notify handlers. Distance is going to be the max distance used. Float max distance used. And then this is going to pass that value. And that should be good. Now let's do one more thing. Should we test it before we do one more thing? Probably. Let's test it before we do one more thing. I want to add layer masks. That's the one thing. Hi, Mark V. Open, closed. What's the open, closed? Open, closed principle. I don't actually know all of the solid principles by heart, by memory. Raycast shooter. The origin is going to be that. Max distance, we'll say 200. Make sure this is I handle raycasts. And now we will turn off this. Turn off this. Turn off that. We should be good there. What are we missing? We don't need to do the raycast anymore. And then the other thing is the other script on this one. The frame animation also needs to handle raycasts. Implement the missing members. So let's see. Should we do the beam length? And that's it. What do we do? Line render beam length. Set line renderer position. Line distance. What else do we do in our... We do set the scale. We don't need to do that. So set line renderer position is all we need to do. All right. And while we're here, apparently the script never got its name changed properly. All right. Make sure that's still here and didn't get an error. Okay, good. So we should be all good to go and test. Let's see if it works. It might not. Open for extension, closed for modification. Yeah. All right. So it doesn't appear to be working. So let's do some debugs to our line. It's just doing the default right now. It's even going through the walls. So let's make sure our object is indeed having the right stuff on it. Where is it? Projectiles, lightning beam has the raycast shooter. Let's add some debugs. Debug.log, found component dot name. Nope, just component. Okay. And then, oh, we never do the raycast. That could be important, right? To actually do the raycast. Protected virtual void update. Options. Public float. Raycast interval is going to be -1. And that means infinite. And we're going to do a private coroutine, raycast coroutine. No. I mean, I guess. Okay. So if what we're really going to do, if raycast, whoops, not of, if, oh, goddamn. Start raycast, because we're going to move this out of the update. And this one, if raycast interval is less than 0, then we are going to do, if it's less than or equal to 0, then we will just do raycast and return. And return. Otherwise, we will, if the raycast interval is good. Good job, AI. You're going faster than me. While true, oh, god damn it. While true, do that. Okay. So we got the code. Update will just do start raycast. That's all it does. If we're doing the raycast interval is less than or equal to 0, then just do the raycast. Otherwise, if the raycast coroutine is null, then we will start the coroutine. Otherwise, nothing. I enumerator. And while true, so forever and ever, amen, raycast. Yield, wait for seconds, raycast interval. And then we need on disable. Protected virtual void on disable. If it's not null, stop it. Mark V, that's a good call out. That's a good call out. Rayfire for Unity, I think. Is it just Rayfire? I think I own it. Let me see. Rayfire. Well, I'm not logged in right now, so who knows? Rayfire for Unity, $190. I like the price point. As someone who thinks that this stuff is vastly underpriced, like the assets are vastly too cheap. The value you get from assets is like immense. But anyways, yeah, destruction. Oh, I hate that I have to turn on the cookies in order to see this, the video, you know? I have to add targeting cookies. Stupid. All right. I'm gonna need to, yeah, figure out if, I mean, I might not need, there might not need any integration happening, so I'll just need to make a video of just it working. Where's the video of it working? I thought this would be the video. Do they not have a video there? It just shows it doing it? There we go. Yeah. There you go. Anyways, so yeah, that'll be on the list. It's in sales all the time. But it is one of those things. I have a lot of assets that I thought I was going to use. By the way, the bull buy, if you're still here. I never did. See? The value is I mean, it's one of those things. If it does something, if it enables something really cool for your game that you can't do yourself, or it would take you a long time, you know, and that's something that most people can't do themselves. They'd have to learn it, and it looks really cool, and it's something that really sells a game. You know what I mean? That's why I'm trying to figure out what the price of this projectile system should be, because by itself, it saves a lot of time. It should save a lot of time and enable a lot of new opportunities for projectiles and make it really easy. But also the integrations with these other packages make them more valuable. So I'm like, okay, what should the price be? The integrations, I think I want to be free because, you know, why not? But then the main pack, what? $30, $50, $189? Not $189, but anyways. So now we are calling that. It should work, I think. Let's find out. It is indeed working. And the animation is now working. The only other are those two dots, and we'll fix that in a second. All right, good. We found those. Everything is working as expected, which is wonderful. All right, so now let's remove this from the code that we had. Let me clear up some of these other scripts. Need that one, need that one. Oop. I don't need that. That was for a meeting yesterday. Line, render, oscillate, oscillate. We need that. Okay, so let's clean up this a little bit while we're here. We don't need this, so on the update we'll just do the oscillation. We're gonna say protected virtual void on these, on disable. All right, we can get rid of all of that code. Public virtual, protected virtual, private virtual. Let's see. There you go. Okay. Should be all good. In the hood, we are not using max length anymore. Oh, interesting. You could do max length override. Is going to be -1. Because what do we do here in our max distance, and we're going to change this to max distance override, and then we will say in a property public float max distance, if the override I can't spell, can't type. If the override's greater than 0, then we do use the override. Otherwise we do we do this distance, so that won't work. But we can still use this. Get max distance. Pass in max distance. Get used max. Actual max distance, we'll say. There we go. If max distance override is greater than 0, so we can just do a return here, really. Return greater than 0, then max distance. Otherwise, max distance. Make that an expression body. There we go. So now we can, each individual object can also have its own max distance. So we, there's multiple options for max distances. Nice. All right. Tooltip. Alternative max distance for this object only. Set to -1 to ignore. All right. I'm happy with that. Now, the other thing is these two little... It's really only one because there's two beams, but little nubby things on the end have to move. So we open up our lightning beam again. That's these bits. Need a thing that is a very set position on raycast from raycast. Yeah. So we're going to put this... I'm going to have to move my scripts around because these are demo scripts. And I've put regular scripts in there, so I'm going to have to fix that. But general, create C# script. This is going to be set position from raycast. And namespace for this is Magic Piggy Games. Public. System.serializable. All right, options. Public. Float. Max distance override equals -1. I can copy because I copied. You're welcome. Was not in this one, was in this one. Max distance override. Should add that to the other one too. Oh, interesting. Hold on, I got a doorbell. Be right back. I don't know what this is. I have a package. This is the thing. I don't remember ordering a package. And this is coming from just a dude in Riverside, California. It could be a glitter bomb for all I know. What is it? Oh! Well, this explains why it was delayed, because it was just being shipped from a dude and they didn't know when it was going to come. Now I remember. This is what it is. Ah, there you go. That's what it is. It's a vacuum. For the Ryobi, I don't know how to pronounce it, the Ryobi system of tools. And the reason being, there's two reasons why I wanted a vacuum. First, I got that one because I already have the tool, so I've got the battery, so I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Two, I guess sometimes I want to clean up the mess I make if I do manual labor, which isn't that often. Three, I need to clean my car. I'm going to have friends in it, so I'm going to clean my car. I don't do that very often. And three, when I shave my face, I just shave it onto the counter, and then I have to go get my big vacuum and vacuum it up. Now I'm just going to vacuum up with that little thing, so it doesn't go down the drain, you know? Now you know. Now you know my habit. All right, so this is actually wrong. I realized that as the doorbell rang. This is wrong. This is incorrect. We need to get the actual max distance. Okay, so we have a max distance override. So what we're really going to do is line distance equals get distance equals get line distance. We're going to pass in our raycast hit distance. We're going to pass in our max distance, and we'll compute from there. So there we go. So if override max distance override is greater than 0, then we're going to return if, yeah, so, and then if raycast, return raycast hit distance equals 0, then we're going to return the max distance override. Okay, if it's 0, then we'll return the max distance override. God damn it. Max distance override. Okay, I'm having problems with this. All right. All right, there we go. All right, so if it's distance, then we're going to get the override. But if it's not, then we have to return the minimum, else return mathf.min between max distance override and distance. And the raycast hit distance. All right, now we can simplify it. All right, there we go. So if it's 0, we're returning that the distance override because raycast it was distance, and we've got the max distance is set, so we're going to return that max distance. Actually, that's interesting. This is actually a default. Andrew's face cam. I know, right? Isn't that nice? I'm not blurry. Hey, Jason. Projectile Factory. Oh, the AI bot? It's the Rider's AI. You can just ask it to do shit for you, and it does it. It's not free. Well, no, I'm subscribed to Rider, so it's part of the Rider subscription. But it's totally worth it. It will give me answers to questions I have, and sometimes it'll just do stuff that I want to do myself. So I actually realized that we have a little feature creepy, but the reality is we need a default default distance equals 50F. So this is going to be the default to use when default distance to use when the raycast distance is 0. So if the raycast doesn't hit anything, this is the default we're going to use. Oh, is it separate? I paid it. Either way, I paid it. I subscribe to 3 different AI services. I subscribe to Midjourney. I was on the $10 a month one, but then I needed to do a bunch of stuff, so I upgraded again to the $30 a month one. I'll downgrade soon enough. And that was for the board game stuff, for the board game art I was doing. I had to upgrade. And then I subscribed to this. I subscribed 4 things. GitHub Copilot, which you can see in the code itself, and then ChatGPT 4. So I subscribe to 4 different AIs, and I am happy to do so. All right, so our default distance. We need the default distance. I'm gonna add that to these as well while we're here. And what was the other one? Set position. All right. I know I'm totally feature creeping myself, but the reality is this isn't the right thing. We need the default distance because default distance. So var default equals mathf.max. We can say raycast hit distance equals 0 default, otherwise that. So distance to use is going to be that. So if this, then we're going to return the default. Okay, if the raycast hit distance is 0, we've already done that. So if the max distance override is greater than 0, then we're going to return the minimum between the max distance override and distance to use. If, however, max distance is not, then we're going to return the max distance, the minimum between the max distance and the distance to use. There we go. That's better. And that's better. And I'll leave it. I like to make it an expression body thing, whatever, but we're going to leave it as that. So distance to use. If the raycast hit is 0, i.e. we didn't hit anything, then we're going to use the default distance. Otherwise, we'll use that distance. Then we're going to return the minimum between. If the max distance override is greater than 0, then we're going to use that. Or the maximum distance, one of the two. The max distance set by the raycaster itself or by this object. Otherwise, the distance used, we're going to return the minimum between those two. Good. Let's use that. I'm happy with this. I believe it will work. We will copy these over to these things here. And then this is the new thing. Line distance is get that and set line renderer position. All right. So handle raycast hit. Return void, don't return anything, just do that. Ooh, nope, don't do that. Set line distance to this value. Okay, and I think this, yep. All right, so set line distance to the line distance value. And we're going to add that here and give the option of float distance equals -1. And we will statement body this. Well, if distance is greater than 0, then distance, otherwise line distance. There we go. And we don't need to get actual there. All right. All right. All right. Let's see if those two work. And let's quickly get this one to work too. I handle raycasts. So virtual. All right. And so max distance override default distance, get line distance. Just going to copy it. Private float line distance. Set line distance. And in our distance, we're going to say transform position equals that times distance. Sure, we can introduce a variable. I don't see how that's any different, unless this causes a get, I suppose. So we'll do plumbing. I can't spell. Public transform. Boop, 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 boop. This transform. Plumbing. Transform to position. How about that? So transform to position dot position equals that position plus that position's forward times the distance. But we are going to really do times the distance equals -1 times distance is greater than 0, then distance otherwise. No, that's right. I'm wrong. Wait, what am I doing? Set line distance? Oh, yeah. We set our line distance there. That gives the opportunity for something to set separately. Okay. We set our line distance. Position object on line. That should work, right? Handle the raycasts. We get the line distance. We position on that line. In that, we set the line distance here just in case some other script wants to come in and mess up with that. And then we transform the position equals. No, we're not plus equaling. That's not right. That's not right at all. Equals transform forward. Nope, that's not right. We need the spawner public transform spawn position or base position. This is the tool tip. Yeah, this is going to be the base position for the line. And here's what we're going to do. If the transform to position, this transform. If this transform is null, we're going to set that. And then if base position equals null, we're going to set it to the parent. Base position equals transform dot parent. And then if base position equals null still, then we're going to throw an error. Debug.log error. We need a parent position for this object to work properly. Sure. And then we will say this dot disable enabled equals false. And that's that. All right. Codium, I still have to check that out. Ooh, that's a good question, Mark V. I think there's, the thing is, I think there's money to be made in both. The problem is that with the assets, there is the support costs, and there is a slowdown in your production time, because obviously I can go much faster if I'm being just dirty. But I'm also enjoying the fact that I'm making these systems that I'm going to use as well. So I don't know. I think it both works. All right, so we need the base position because base position is going to be used down here. This transform is going to be this base position dot position plus this transform forward base transform. All right, transform base. All right. Plus its forward and line distance. There we go. So we're putting this object on the base's line forward based on that distance. There we go. That'll be better. And plumbing, we don't need these formerly serialized adds right now. Tooltip, this is the object that we will be positioning. That's fine. Alrighty, IDO. Let's see if this works the first time. Ray, what do we call it? Set position from raycast. We're going to use this one. We're going to use this one as the base. Default distance is going to be I guess 50. For this one, we'll keep the default distance to 50. For this one, default distance to 50. Now, you realize that I've got a repetition here as well? Do you realize that? I've realized that. I've got these repeated in 3 different scripts. They should probably all be overriding from the same thing or something, I suppose, because they like a raycast handler thing, or a line raycast handler, or just raycast distance handler, basically, because they all have the same thing. We'll do that in a second. That's good practice, but we'll do that in a second. They do have to be good. It's tough, actually. These days are tough. Certainly not saying don't do it. I think you should do it if it's something you want to do, but you know, not like it was ever amazing. 2021 was actually a really good year. That was a good year, but that was a different year because of COVID. Yeah. All right. Let's see if it works. All right. It apparently is working, but we need an offset because they are working, but the offset isn't quite. So there, we see them there. They're all working as expected, but the little nubby things. I mean, the hit apparently. Actually, that's an interesting question. Let's print out the hit because I have a question. Raycast shooter. So if ray.distance, wait, hit point, No. Wrong thing. I'm going to say debug.log hit point raycast hit point. So I want to check and see exactly where this hit point is going, because I am curious about something. All right, so hit point is currently there. I'm going now. We're all seeing it's kind of on that corner into the side. So we're going to stop that, and then we're going to create an object, and we're going to put this at 2 1.94 4.08, and that is indeed at that corner. So why was it that everything else was going beyond? So let's find out. We're going to go to our set position from raycast and position object online. All right, so debug.log. This is now at position. This transform position. So they should technically match, but we'll find out. Oops. All right, let's do this one. So the right one is now on that middle thing. So let's move this sphere to the right one, which is the lower of the two. It looks like it is negative 2.46, 2.494. All right. That does indeed look to be there. But it didn't look to be there. You know what I mean? Let me look at that one more time. And we're going to shoot right there. In fact, I'm going to move this right here so we can get a different vantage point. Lightning beam. So yeah, the particle appears to be going kind of, you know, there's a lot showing up behind it. And so that's actually not that much showing up behind it. So what I think we need is an offset. But it also, that was weird, wasn't it? Let's see. So we're going to look in this isometric view. Whoops. Ah, shit. All right, good. Okay, still, oh, God. There we go. Okay, so it's not showing up in the isometric view. Okay, that won't work. Non-isometric view. So there it looks like it's visible. I'm looking at the bright lightning bolt thing that's hitting it. We also have another issue. The other one goes beyond it, so there's something going on there. So there is some bug going on. But it doesn't appear to be happening here, or is it? I'm not seeing it in this view like I am in that view. Is it just because of the I mean, I guess it's probably just the blur or just the bloom and stuff. So maybe it's fine. All right, let's fix that other bug. That was with the oscillating one. I was going to add an offset, but I'm not going to now. Okay, so the oscillation one appears to be not oscillating when it hits. Right? Well, now it's not having that issue. Oh, maybe it's the animation that's not working. Let's see. Which one is it? I can't tell. Might be the animation. Where's my projectiles? So let's turn off the line renderer oscillate and see which one is the issue. All right, so now the oscillate is off and the animate is on. Is that all the animate's doing? Doesn't seem right. We'll keep the oscillating on, turn the beam off. It's interesting. Yeah, Z buffer, something like that. All right. That's interesting. So we're not seeing any oscillation going on. So let's figure that out because it should be oscillating. Oscillate beam. Debug.log. Oscillate. I like the isometric look, but it's always like kind of tough to look at that. So it seems to oscillate the beam when it's further out, but not when it's in. But it says it's doing it regardless. A mystery. All right, this is what we're going to do. Position 1, position 2. I wonder if, I don't know. 0 and 54, 0 and 9. Interesting that it doesn't appear to oscillate. I mean, it's clearly calling it, but it's not doing any impact. Oh, and now it stopped oscillating entirely. So that's another thing. So let's fix that first. On disable, we stop the coroutine. Start oscillation is on update. Log. Oscillation is null. What? Why now it's working just fine? All right. It's not working, but okay. So it's not false. It's not null. collapse this. How many trues did we get? We didn't get any trues. Whoops, wrong button. So it should be true at the beginning, and it should be true at every... we stop it, but we don't clear it. We have to actually clear it. We didn't clear it. Do we do the same thing for the animation on disable? We do clear it. Okay. So that should solve that problem. Let's see if it solves other problems too. Okay, we are oscillating, oscillating, oscillating. We are not oscillating. Oscillating. Okay. Now we still have this problem where for some reason when the position is short, it doesn't think. So this is going to be, it doesn't seem to oscillate. The effect doesn't oscillate. So we're going to ask the AI. For some reason, when the distance is fairly short, like under 15 meters, the oscillation effect doesn't happen. The debug shows properly, but the effect doesn't happen. It does when the distance is further. Why might that be? Why might that be? How you are calculating the number of points you're being based on the distance. Aha. This is a holdover from that other code. That's this. So it's saying do max 5. You know what we really need is the points per distance. Like how many beam points? It should be 2. It's always should be 2. It's a minimum of 2. So how about this? Min beam points equals 2, and we're going to make this a min 2. And then public int beam points per distance equals 10. So we're going to have an extra point for every 10. So if we're going, we're always going to have a minimum of 2. But if we have 50, then we're going to have 5 points. And then we're going to have max points. Public int max beam points equals 5. So we're always going to have a maximum of 5. And this will be, yeah. All right. So now in our thing down here, we're going to calculate the points based on the distance. So var points is going to be, is going to be the line distance divided by distance points by distance, and we will do that rounded down. So an int, we'll just round it. All right, so that's points by distance, and then points is going to be this. So we're going to do this int, force that to be an int. How do we make this an int? Thought we just did like that. I guess not. Cast to int. Oh, I was missing parentheses. There we go. Points is an integer. Min points, min bean points. And then the minimum between those two. All right. Then we set the number of points. So compute points. So var points equals compute points. And we're going to move this out of this method into its own little special method. And return that protected virtual. All right, so now we got our points. All right, and then start an endpoint. Line position 0, 0, set position points -1 is new position line distance. Okay. Oscillating with those. Let's see if that works. Fancy pants. Oops. Lightning beam. With 2 points. It's funny, it's still not doing anything. Oscillating with 2 points. Let's set up our thing. Make sure we have it set up properly. Points per distance. Beam point per distance 5. And debug.log points per by distance. And then debug.log points is points. And then we'll return that. All right. I want to see. Where it claps on. All right. Points by distance 11. We'll return 5. And then we only have 2. Interesting. Ah. Index 0. Index. All right. That is probably why that freaking... They just didn't want us lane if there's under 2 points for some reason. Let's find out why. Nope, still not doing it. We'll return 5. We'll return 2. 5 points. Points by distance is 1. Minimum of 2 points. All right, there still might be some hard-coded block here. Where do we set the number of points on the... Set the number of points on the line. Do we not do that? Line renderer dot points position count equals points. Do we do that everywhere? We do that up here. Okay. So we do that. And okay, so the position count is, and then we're doing the last position. Okay. Okay. And then for each, more explicitly, for each one, This is weird. So we're saying the position of the first two. So we're going to do a set line positions. And I don't know what we need here necessarily yet. But it's going to be doing this, essentially. But we're going to modify it because this isn't right. Our position count equals that. So while we are under the position count, we're going to update that. All right. So if I equals 0 or I equals position count -1, then we're going to continue because we don't want to affect the first and last. Don't affect the first and last points. All right. Otherwise, we're going to do a var position on line is the line distance divided by position count -1. So if there are 10, then it would be, and it's 100. I guess that's right. Because we'd end up having 8 in the middle. Is that right? I'm not sure. It seems like it might be right, though. Position on line is going to be that. So position on line. And our random position equals that. Wait a minute. Is it doing? Oh, it's doing. Oh, that was just the Z. Var random position equals new vector 3 random amplitude, and position on line. All right, and then we will set the position to a random position. All right. Now, let me ask the AI something. Is this the right way to calculate the position on line? Position 0 will be at the base of the line, and the last position will be at the end, and we want the rest to be spaced out evenly. I don't think it is the right way to compute it, but I don't know. Do I want both of those lines? Yes, I think I do. Yes, this, okay. All right, I trust you. So these lines are going to set the start and end position. In fact, we can actually set these down here. So what we're going to do is if I equals 0, then we will say do that and continue. Otherwise, if I equals, then we're going to do this. And continue. So we actually don't need those at all. If maybe that's what you were asking, Tech Dave. We can make this now. All right. What is this saying? All right. Is the star of the loop one? Oh, look at that. Gold star. You get a Reese's peanut butter egg. You have to come find it, though. All right, so... yeah, so we're just going to compute the points and set the positions. Okay. Let's see if that works. Oh, you know what? I know why. Duh. This makes a lot of sense now. It's my lack of understanding about things is minimum points should be 3. Let's make that 3. Because you need a middle point. The first and the end are always going to be solid. The middle point is the one that's why we're not moving. If there's only 2 points... No, that wasn't it. I thought there would be a middle point. We'll return 2. Why is it returning 2? Didn't we change this to 3? Does it need to be updated here? Yeah, it needed to be updated there. All right, save. There you go. Now you've got the middle one oscillating. That was the issue. Is it didn't have it needs to force a middle one. All right. So that part, there was no other issues here, right? That part was working fine. All right. Let me lower the light up a little bit here. Intensity 0.7. All right, and then we'll turn back on the animation. And we will turn this animation off because I am very curious. Earlier, I noticed that it didn't seem like the animation was doing much at all. Oops, wrong one. All right, now it's doing something. All right. Let me just confirm that it's doing something and doing something far away. So this is the animation when it's close, but when it's far away, it stretches. So it doesn't quite look the same. We need to get the math right on the stretching. See that? So let's dig into that just a little bit because I am being nitpicky today. All right, this one's good. Animator. Gotta keep my posture up. Hmm. Yeah. All right, that's fine. I've been eating too many of those. They are one of my weaknesses in life ever since I was a child. Reese's peanut butter. And I had the bag closed. I bought it at Costco, knowing it was dangerous. But it was closed for 2 weeks. And then one day, it was not closed. And I've eaten a lot. All right, so let's figure out the distance here. So I'm going to ask the AI to tell me where this is. When the distance is great, the animation frames stretch. I want to ensure they don't stretch too much. Where in the code does this happen? And can you suggest an update? An update. Of course, certainly I can. Stretching could be determining the change in end position, which is governed by the function set line renderer position. This function stretches or compresses the line render depending on the distance. If you want your animation frames to be consistent with regards to the distance, you might want to adjust the UV time variable update according to distance. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. So it's saying I should do this. Animate UV, set texture, main texture, maxed normalized distance. You can introduce some that represent the max distance at which UV is well, so the frames don't stretch. The line length is divided by that to get the... Okay. Let's add that. Public... Oh. There you go. We'll test it then. Thanks, AI. And that is why it's worth $100 a year. There you go. Now we have a consistent throughout. If we go to here and change this to one, just to see. Aha. We get that. So if we change to 5, we get that. It's the animation has seemed to have stopped. We'll figure that out in a second. Does it stop every time, or is it because I went to that? Yep. All right. So, bug in the code. It's a cockroach. Min 1. Keeps adding post-processing when I try to do min. Why do we have 2 coroutines? Great. It appears I have 2 coroutines. I think I don't need to. Can you provide an update? So, yeah, I don't think I need 2 coroutines. Yeah. Okay. Animate frame with coroutine. Does this have both things? Where's the other one? All right, so this is the new one. Animation. All right, and whoops. We will do animation and so if it's not, oh, okay, if it's null, then return. Otherwise, we stop it and set null. All right, let's see if that works. All right, it didn't seem to start again. Why not? Where's our update? Because we don't start it. We only start it in awake. All right, start animation. If it's not null, then we'll return because it's already running. Otherwise, we will do that. And then we will start animation on update. Now, okay. I'm going to check what this animate UV is even doing. A lot of the code that I've been converting was just a lot of CMRV. Yeah, they're too far away. You know, and then the ones who are close, or my friends' kids, they have too much candy already because one of my friends buys them too much candy. All right, so that part's working. So they don't need it. Plus, I like it. It's not that I mind doing it. It's just I have been trying to lose weight, and I've been somewhat successful. But then last week, what I've been doing is making, like, every 10 days or so, I'll make a shit ton of food that's mostly chicken and veggies and some, like, Indian sauce or curry sauce or something. And I just eat that for the most part. And that was going really well. But then a week or so, something like 10 days ago, something like that. Not the last one I made, which was 2 days ago, but the one before that, I made this Korean stuff from Costco. I added chicken, but not too much, unfortunately. I just didn't have any at the time. And there was a lot of carbs in it. And that didn't keep me as not hungry as the other ones are doing. And I've been having a lot of chicken wings in the air fryer. I learned that air fryers cook chicken wings freaking amazingly. So I've been having that too. So last week was and I think that is the week that I started with the Reese's. So yeah. Anyways, so that is working, but I'm confused by this. So we're going to say, clean up this. Okay, now what the hell is interesting? We don't need this anymore. All right, what the hell is going on? We don't use this ever. All right, let's ask the AI. I don't use UV time or initial beam offset. Any reason that I should? and don't actually know what UV time may be used for. I think that could be the time of the shift. Previous versions playing, yep. The very one app intended to manipulate the speed. A rate change the UV mapping over time. Yeah. I know I can remove it, but whoops. What is the animate UVs section doing in the update? So what's the difference? Now, if I turn those off, animate UVs off, turn the left one on. I'm trying to figure out what the difference is. They look exactly the same. Is that code even needed? Because it happens... It seems like it's not needed, but couldn't tell what the difference was. Let me look again. Maybe I was missing something. All right, bring them in. Now they're in the pool. So the left one, or one of the two, will be turned off. Do they look different? Yes. One of them looks, the one on the right now looks a little bit better. Turn this on. Now they both look good. Okay. So I'm just going to say that's always on. Like, is there any reason to ever do that? I don't think so. So let's move that to the animation coroutine. Maybe. We're gonna make this protected virtual void animate UVs. Ah, maybe this is what I was supposed to be doing. But then, oh. I think I want to marry these two methods for setting texture offset and, oh, that offset and scale. Var scale length equals that. All right, so we can, if not animate UVs, or frame length is less than or equal to 1, return. Okay, good add for the less than or equal to 1 bit. Okay, so I think the other bit just adds a little bit more of that flickering going on. That's a good addition. Okay, I like it. Now let's load this back up, turn this back on, and look at them both together, and then move on with our lives by adding sound and force and damage over time. All right, so that's the whole thing together. We get a little lightning effect with the oscillations, I think. Are we seeing that? I feel like we're not seeing that. Oh, I guess we are. In the scene view, it looks more static. But in the non-scene view, it looks more fluid. All right. I'm happy with that. Are we happy with that? I'm happy with that. Okay. So let's add, well, let's remove the bugs, and then we'll add force and sound and other things. All right. What is the sound we use for this? Lightning gun. This is the sound they want when we start. This is the loop. I'm actually going to do sound later because when I do the streams, I can't really hear the sound that well without turning it up or changing the stream thing, so I'm not going to do the sound now. So let's do the force. So we're going to add, so we've made this cool little ray gun or ray thing. So the lightning beam has this ray cast shooter on it, and all these other things. The line render oscillation handles ray casts, and so is the others, and so is the position. So we're going to do another one that handles ray casts. It's going to be similar to this one, I guess. And it's going to be called, am I copying everything? No. How come I'm only copying a little bit? What the heck? I've got no button pressed. I don't know what that is happening. You know what? Quit. Exit. Turn it back on again. There we go. All right. I must have pressed a button or something. There we go. So we're going to do a new thing. So when I think about the projectile factory system here, when we look at our projectile itself, the lightning gun, we have the basic projectile, and on the basic projectile we have, just collapse those, we have all the behaviors. So destroy on spawn or stop. That way when the spawner stops, we destroy. On this is our spawn behavior. We have 2 lasers. That's why there's 2, not 1, because I've got that set to 2. Laser pulse muzzle. So create object at spawn position, laser pulse muzzle. That's the when it spawns, it has a little muzzle effect, and then parent spawn point as well. That's what keeps it as we turn around. Those are the behavior modifications. They happen on the spawn behavior right afterwards. So we could do a force here as a behavior, but I think since we want the force to be basically constant when it's on, I think it's more appropriate to do it on the lightning beam itself as based on the raycast shooter. Seems like it would be easier and more straightforward. And even though you could do it here, take the more straightforward route. So we have this gun flare. we can add force from this position. So let's do that. Create a new script. We're going to say add force from just add force. Yeah, just add force. Or project force maybe. So we're going to put this on our there. And what we're going to do, we don't even need the raycast thing though. So namespace magic pig games. So I don't think add force is the, because we're not adding force to this. We're going to say project force. Project force. So some options. Options. That's a lot of force. Public bool forward equals true. Otherwise, we'll do all around. And then public or private protected virtual void update. Project do force. And on this, oops, it's going to be constant. I mean, I guess we can have a private bool force active equals true. And then all right. If public bool force active equals that. So if we're not active, then return. If forward, then apply force forward and return. Otherwise, apply force, just an area. Okay. Let's change these to be much smaller. We're going to make this force maybe 25, and the distance is going to be, say, 8. And we're going to call this radius, area radius. Apply force forward. All right, so we're applying force forward, or true or false. The force is going to be that. The area radius, so we can say this, header area options. Keep that separated. Keep that, okay. So we're going to do just apply force forward and that, and we're going to say if not apply force forward, return. And similar for this one, if we're applying force forward, then return area. All right. So get all rigid bodies in the okay. area radius forward public float forward radius equals, say, 30 degrees. Header forward options. All right. In the forward radius, get that. Okay. I don't like abbreviating. I add force direction times force. And we're going to another option. Public float. I mean, we're going to do it by time. So public float force per frame is going to be force times time dot delta time. Force this frame. So we're applying force this frame. For each one, we should use the non-alloc. Let's get the AI to do that for me. For this, I want to use the non-alloc version. All right. All right. So I'm changing this a little bit because suddenly, so we're getting the number of colliders. So now if we do forward, we're going to do that. Else apply force to all colliders in the area from is this going to do what I want it to do? So I want it to apply force outward. All colliders outward from this position. Let's ask the AI, because I don't know. I could read it and try to figure it out, but I could also ask the AI. If apply force forward. Uh-oh, I see. That might change things. We already have colliders in the area, don't we? Okay, let's ask the AI to do this instead. I need help making the last part where the force should be applied to all colliders from the direction of this transform, like outward in a circle. All right, there we go. I knew you'd come through. Force direction. Apply the force. Okay. If apply force forward, then we do that. Otherwise, we do this. Okay, we need one more question. Here's my updated code. The forward force has a radius value. I want to make sure that doesn't affect the non-forward method. I think it does. I think we just need to move this one higher up or something. I mean, it's 360. Is 360 basically a full circle? Or is it supposed to be 180 for... Yes. Alright. Alright. Is this good? Colliders, number of colliders in that radius. Adjust it to add. Shouldn't we put this here? I moved colliders out. Is that correct to do? I think it is, because I thought the whole point was you're supposed to keep that out. Yeah. Otherwise, the garbage will be collected. All right. Let's just see if it works first. Apply or force. Project. Oh, we're already doing it. All right. Oh. I'm okay. I need to clarify something. to clarify in the apply force method, forward radius is meant to be only apply the force on objects that are within forward radius of this transforms forward, i.e. the ones I'm facing, while area radius is the total area to be affected when apply force forward is false. Yes, I believe there is. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. So we're gonna keep the radius. We're gonna tame, yeah. Force area radius, forward, and then change this to forward angle, max angle. I basically didn't name it right, I think. All right. So we'll get the force radius is going to be the area radius. All right, and then apply force forward. And we're going to pass in our, I don't know what we're going to pass in, so let's just, if not apply force forward, return. So now we're going to do this bit. And we need to pass in the number of colliders. There we go. Int number of colliders. All right. And then apply force outward. Num colliders. And we do that, but we do need to do this check as well. All right. Okay. I've moved the forward force method to this. I have a float, what's it called? Area, no, forward max angle, forward max angle. So I want to update this so that only rigid bodies within that angle of the transform forward are included or affected. All right, that should do the trick, I think, once we get that. Because now I could make this two different methods. Project force forward, project force outward. But I think I'm okay with having this be two options. All right, so what are we doing here? Cosine max angle. Yep, this is where I need the AI's help. All right. All right. gather colliders, and we're going to say bar num, or we'll do int for now, int num colliders equals gather colliders. And gather colliders is going to be its own little method. Oops. Return num colliders. Okay, there we go. So apply force is going to gather the colliders, then and then apply the force to them. All right. Let's see if it works. All right, max angle 30. Save. Is any force being applied? I don't see any force being applied. Oh, well, that worked. Appears to be going outward. All right. Let's add some debugs to this one. Debug.log forward force for num colliders. Debug.log found collider. It is colliders dot game object dot name. All right, let's see if we get any returns on that. So it is doing that. Let's see how much force it's applying. Apply force. Maybe it's just not enough force. Oh, it is moving. I do see it moving a little bit. I thought I saw it moving. Did I see it moving? All right, let's up the force value. $500. I don't know what the appropriate amount of force is. All right, so now it's applying force. It appears to be applying it forward. It's going to use the radius, so it'll apply it at 8. So for these, really, we want more force, less radius, I suppose. So let's try that. More force. We'll do 800, but an 8 radius of just 1.5 maybe. And still a 30-degree max angle is fine, I think. All right, so now we're getting some movement. It's not a ton of force, right? But it's something. All right, now what happens if we were to change these to be area force of, say, 4? So there you need less force, say 200. All right, maybe that's too little for a fun effect. There you go. So this would require another particle, I think, like shooing out, so you would see it doing that. But seems to be working. You could do an override that applies less force at distance or more force at distance. But that's fun. All right. So we got the force working. It's strong with this one. Yep. I'm happy with that amount of force. So now we need to... Oh, hey, Jason Wyman. How's it going, Jason Wyman? Now we're going to do a damage over time. So this is where it gets into the this is your job aspect of things. All the scripts, or most of the projectiles, I'll show you and remind myself as well, have this bit right here. There's very bright debug logs because there's some custom code going on for the demo saying, hey, I hit something. And this works because when we look at the plasma gun, we have, oh no, not the plasma gun, we have the spawner. When we look at the spawner, we have this projectile demo actor on it. That's the actor. And we have the demo actor observer. Good, Jason. I'm glad you're doing good. What are you up to today? Are you streaming at all today? And the demo observer actor, it's a projectile observer, and a projectile observer is just a special type of projectile behavior, which means it watches the projectiles. But as an observer, on the spawner itself here, every projectile that is projected will get this observer added to it. So this observer and any other observer you put in this list will be watching every projectile, and then they can do something with it. So at various times they can do something. And for this one, our actor damage spawner observer, we can just change this to actor damage observer. So our actor damage observer, it gets our actor set, and then it's got things like on launch. So on launch, it will, what does it do on launch? Projectile owner, figures out who the owner of the projectile is at launch. Actor equals projectile owner, just in case that changes, I suppose. Oh, also, yeah, it doesn't know who the actor is. So even though it's on this, it doesn't know necessarily that this is the actor. But you can imagine also if this were like a fixed gun emplacement and an actor, a player, steps up to it and starts firing, that's the actor that would be passed here. So the observer is always observing it, but it doesn't know who's firing it. This will tell the observer who's firing it. And then we've got these overrides for collision enter, trigger enter, that call hit object. So I'm going to make an override of our data object. So when we look at now our lightning beam, we have this projectile data, speed 40. So this is a projectile data. Now the damage, speed is needed. Lots of things use that. Damage is just kind of a placeholder. You don't have to use it. In fact, I'm going to header required values, and then these are header optional values I use for your custom scripts. For your custom scripts. Okay, so we're going to make a new override of this. And we're going to be projectile data, demo damage over time. All right. New damage over time projectile data. Demo damage over time. All right. And so we're going to do calculate damage. We're going to keep all these other things just the way they are. But the calculate damage we're going to is going to be damage times time.delta time. I don't know why I made those serialized in private. And this is going to inherit from projectile data. That's important. This is going to be override. Okay, so everything else is the same. The only difference is now we're calculating damage over time. I could have made that part of the other one, but recording AI lessons for coursework. How exciting. How do you do that? Do you pre-plan the lesson, write out maybe a script or an outline and then do it? Or do you kind of know in your head what you're going to do and then record it as you go along? Wondering about that. So then in our demo, projectile data, projectile system. This is going to be damage over time, speed 40. Okay, so we're going to do speed of 40 and damage over time of, I don't know, this is going to be per second. So 5 damage per second. So now in theory, all I have to do, and let's see if it works, is go to our lightning beam, change this to be the damage over time speed 40. And now, oh, I still have to connect the two, I think. Yes, I have to connect the two. I didn't do a got hit on the lightning beam yet. So the behaviors are destroy and all that. So what we need is one more script to pass a got hit to this. So let's see. So the special thing about this is we're using a line renderer. Practice run followed by outline, then recording. Oh, interesting. That makes sense. I should get more coffee. I'm almost out. Yeah, you should be. So the thing about this line renderer is the distance changes. So we can't really have a behavior that says, hey, get the, I mean, I guess we could get a line renderer and get the end position. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, let's do that. We're going to make a new behavior. And it's going to be a collision behavior. So we're going to do, and this is just really showing how to do custom collision behaviors. There are, of course, so many. I'm really just looking for this bit of code. There we go. Collision behavior. So this is going to be collision at line renderer end. Collision at line renderer end. All right. So we're going to let's see. Nope. Protected line renderer, and then we're going to go on launch is going to say line renderer equals projectile get component line renderer, and then we're going to say if line renderer equals null, then we're going to throw an error. No line render was found on projectile. Projectile dot game object dot name. It is required for the that behavior. I guess that's that. All right, so we do that on launch. The base on launch does nothing, so we don't need that. And then tick. So private or protected. Where's it? Public override tick. Yep. The base tick does nothing, so we won't do that. All we're going to do here is position. Okay. Direction. I don't think we need direction. Oh, I forgot to add a layer mask to that raycast thing. I need to go back and do that. When I try outline in advance, I always get the things out of order. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. I think I never do a practice run. I rarely do that. Sometimes I mess up and have to go back, and I guess that's a practice run, but yeah. Okay, so what are we really doing here? We're trying to do a collision at line renderer end. We need a radius, I guess. So public float radius. I'm going to do a very small radius. Maybe make it 2.5. We should do the non-allocation. Where was that other one? There we are. So our colliders. Yes, I want your suggestion. Line render is null. Return. All right. All right, so position. Do we need the position? Yes. Position of the last point. Position of last point on line. And our radius for each hit. If it's this object, then continue. That makes sense. Collision. Make a new collision. We have no setter. It thinks we have setters, but we don't have a setter. But what we do have is a special method on our projectile. I have to remember what it is. Projectile. Oh, I can move all this stuff now. See, last night I refactored the shit out of this. I just deleted the wrong thing. And it was wonderful. It felt good. So good. And now I can make this whole script shorter. All right. Somewhere there is a hit thing, a fake hit thing. Trigger collision with object. That's the one. Projectile dot trigger collision with that hit object. And at what point a hit dot point? It doesn't have a point, does it? Okay, so we just do that. So now we're basically, this will trigger a collision with objects. So any on collision or any collision enter thing will get that invoked. And then this actor dammer observer will get the collision enter, get the game object hit. Let's see, is that what it's going to pass? Make sure I did this right. Game object hit, yep. And then it will say it hit that object. Perfect. All right, so now we just need to make that behavior. It's collision behavior, right? Collision at line render end. Radius 0.25 radius. And then we go to our projectile lightning beam, add our behavior, collision at line end, and see if it works. If it works, we should be seeing lots of bright debug logs as this little pill takes damage. It should be like those. And it is not doing it. So let us figure out why. Let me delete these debugs. Okay. And then we will look at line render end. Debug.log. Looking at colliders. Length. And projectile trigger hit with that. Debug.log. Trigger hit with object hit.name. And I don't think it's saved. I'm gonna save myself some time by doing it again. There we go. That looks better. It's interesting. It's only colliding with cubes. And there's no cubes. Alright, I think the code's wrong. Do you agree? Can you fix it? That could be it. I may have been doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing. Let's see. What's it doing now? Get the last position. Losing reference to avoid new memory allocation. Don't we need to do the same while loop? Do we need a while loop to increase the size of the array? Really? Because this is not what you told me earlier. So we're going to make it a list now. I prefer that. Now we have to go back and change the other code. All right. Should we not use non-allocation overlap sphere? I still am going to use the while loop. What did I do? All right. All right, let's see if that fixed it first of all. Nope. Still just hitting one cube. Looking at one collider. Oh, I know why. We don't have a line render on this. Duh. This is a silly, silly, silly thing. But we don't have a line render on the lightning beam. We have the line renders on... Oh yeah, we do. We have a lightning render. What am I talking about? We do have a line render on the lightning beam. Are we calling it right? Line render. Yeah. Line render is that projectile get component line render. Yeah. Let's make sure our position is actually changing. Last position. Oh boy, I'm gonna eat some chicken wings after this. Actually, I need to eat the other food I made because once I go to GDC, all that food's gonna go bad while I'm at GDC. So the position is... Oh, look at that. We need the position in world space. Yeah. Convert position to world space. All right. Ah, there we go. So it's gained, damaged. Let's remove our debugs now that it's working. And we're going to do a header, options, radius, and public layer mask. Layer mask. All right, let's do this. I have a layer mask. Let's add that to make sure only those are in the result set. I need to add that to the other code too. Collider count. Jesus. Layer mask. What do I call it? Oh, I called it that. All right. Oh, we can get the layer mask of the projectile. Never mind. Never mind. Let's inherit that. Projectile.layer mask. Layer mask. What are we calling it? Collision mask. Yeah, we'll use that one instead. Okay. Makes more sense. Alrighty, ideo. All right, there you go. So it's giving damage. Seems like it. Oh, yeah. Oh. Okay. So when we're in our damage calculation here, min damage, max damage, we need to have a pool for damage over time. All right. Projectile data is going to be... Oh. Wait a minute. Projectile data damage. If projectile dot projectile data is damage over time, then projectile damage, or rather, okay, here's what we do. We do var damage over time equals that is damage over time. So damage is going to be damage var actor base damage equals damage over time. Yes, then it's going to be damage times time dot delta time. Otherwise, it's just damage. And we're going to do actor base damage plus projectile damage. There you go. That should work. Because we don't want the actor doing their full damage every single frame. All right. How much damage? We'll give that much damage per frame. Excellent. All right. So, whoops. Yeah, now the last thing I need is sound, but I'm going to do that off the stream because well, because I can't hear very well when I'm streaming it. But let's just see what we got here. We got this one. I really do like these projectiles. Wow, that has a lot of force. We have the plasma gun, which is homing in on the target, but it still adds force, as you can see all those wiggling right there. Oh yeah, look at that. Knocking down the wall. And then we got the Vulcan, which is a super fast one. And the sniper. Then the shotgun. Laser pulse. Ooh, I love this. Okay, so here's the laser pulse, and here's the special laser pulse. And this is the projectile factory. The projectile factory settings is that you can change laser pulse to special laser pulse very easily with just one different behavioral change. And then for that, you can even just change a few values and change the entire thing. Then we got the railgun. I need to make that hit effect bigger, the visual effect. Then lightning beam, the new one. I feel like the force is not strong with this one. It's not as fun. Let's up the force. Make the area radius 3 and maybe make it 1,000. All right, now it's pushing this a little bit. All right, that's a little bit more fun. There's going to be other beams that have different force amounts. So that works though. All right, there you go. I'm going to go eat some food. Thank you all for hanging out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to call your mother. Yeah, how exciting. All right, well, thanks for hanging out. I will see you all later.